Hello, here again, and this time I'm talking about an iconic Australian picture book. It's a contemporary picture book by two of our well-known authors and illustrators, Jackie French, who's created about 170 books for children, and Nina Rycroft, who lives in New Zealand, and this is about her 10th book. Now, this is a book that really is aimed at a very young age, from perhaps 6 months up to about 3 years. It's the story of a little boy who goes into the kitchen and says he wants some cheese, and his mom realizes there's none in the refrigerator. So she says, "Oh, the dinosaur has eaten the cheese." And in his mind, he can conjure up the idea of a dinosaur. Of this dinosaur coming down, and his mother doesn't notice it at all. So you've really got two stories going on. You've got the story of, the cheese is missing and how to replace it, and that's the mother's perspective, and then you've got his. So in this book, we've got quite a number of allusions that are really aimed at adults. For example, there's an allusion to King Kong, the movie. There's an allusion to Abbey Road, the music, and that's quite an extraordinary example to have. And why do we do that? Because it's adults who are reading to kids. So it's an entertainment value for them. And as children grow older, perhaps they will notice this and make the reference themselves. So quite a special book. Now I'm going to go into some of the creative process about the book and why it's important to keep the materials. This is what we call a Laparello. And this is all of the illustrations totally sketched so that you can lay it out and you can see exactly the continuity of the story, whether the characters are featured in the right spot, whether the climax of the story is in the right place, whether the ending works with the beginning. So this is called a Laparello. And that's one way of putting the images together. Another way is what we call a storyboard. And the storyboard, in this case, is Nina Rycroft, the illustrator, sketching these and writing a few words down at the bottom. It's not meant to be a final product. It's really meant to be a discussion point, perhaps with her book designer, with her editor, and with Jackie French. The good thing about this relationship between Jackie French and Nina Rycroft is that they work together. And in this case, we have Jackie French's manuscript, and these are the words in blue on there. Then we have Nina Rycroft's comments about something it might say, must make the dinosaur look like it's hiding, maybe behind a bin. And then, of course, she sends this to Jackie, and Jackie has a chance to say, what a great idea. And down one side, and this is all done by email, is the little sketches that show that Nina's developing ideas, and so that Jackie can comment. Lisa Berriman, who's the editor and publisher for HarperCollins, might comment. So it is always a team process, this creative process. It takes a long time to get it just right. So, for example, these are some of the early sketches, and they're done in pencil. And they're actually quite detailed, and so that Nina could get an idea, is this the way she wants things to look? Now this particular pencil is very prone to getting smudged, so we have to cover it with a special paper called glassine. And that's one of the things that archives and centres like ours do. We make sure it's going to last forever so that we have a record of Australian children's books to share with succeeding generations. Now, let's have a little look at an example of an illustration. Now, here's the mother, and you can clearly see that the little boy is aware that the dinosaur is hanging down from the ceiling, but the mother is totally oblivious to that at all. So this story is told on two levels. It's told from the child's point of view, also told from the mother's point of view, and then you've got all these extraordinary illusions. So for example, that dinosaur that you just saw is actually coming down from the ceiling, and it's actually being handled by two wires, which is a reflection of a particular movie that we all know that Tom Cruise starred in called Mission Impossible. This is just a joke, really, isn't it? It's really for the adults to have fun with the book. And here's another more developed illustration of the same idea. So there may be several different pieces that look like final artworks, but the illustration has to be just right for the illustrator and the editor and the book designer and the author as well. One of the most important aspects of every book is a jacket cover. So this is a jacket cover that we call a wraparound, so that the front and the back, if you turn the book out and you laid it out, you would see that. And you can see the important elements of this book are right there, aren't there? There's the refrigerator that didn't have any more cheese, and so they had to go to the market. And then the wonderful use of the yellow for the cheese, and even the end papers of the book reflect the cheese. They're yellow as well. And the word cheese, of course, looks like cheese. So even that kind of touch creates a lot of ideas and discussion between authors and illustrators and designers. So all of this is about how a book gets put together, how the ideas get started, how the words change, how the illustrations transmogrify the story, how the artwork has to be sketched and thought about and discussed. Some of these pieces didn't actually appear in the final book, but each one was a journey along the production of a fantastic picture book.